Happy Carnival! And welcome to another episode of Tales from the Parade Route. Tonight, we need to start off by ringing the bell. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, weighing in at a combined weight of over 400 pounds, we have the Lucha Krewe. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Doing wonderful.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for having us.
So, for starters, something that really intrigued me to bring y'all in was what we have right here, the Lucha calendar, which I'm always a huge fan of. Seeing the crews when they work together, and this is no exception. I know that a few years ago, y'all did something with, was it the SPCA?
Right.
Y'all had a bunch of the crews also participating.
We
with y'all?
did, yes, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the calendar here.
Yeah, so we are, in 2024, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary as Lucha Krewe, and we wanted to kind of honor all the crews that we've worked with over the last decade by including them in our charity calendar this year. So we reached out. We actually had trouble limiting it to 12, so it's a 13-month calendar.
All right.
And we've got a lot of our favorite crews, people that we've done either parades with, fundraisers with, all that sort of thing. And we kind of gave them some options, some flexibility on creating a scene that they wanted to be a part of. And we had, some of our crew members or crew members' partners are professional photographers, so they put together some really great shots. And everybody was thrilled to raise money for the charity that we chose this year, which is Puentes, New Orleans, means bridges. They are a local Latino organization that really does a lot for youth education, outreach in the community. They do health fairs. They do housing stuff. They do a lot of educating about laws and anti-immigration legislation. They focus on opposing that. So it's a really great charity, and we're selling them like hotcakes so far. They're actually almost sold out at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where can people go for starters to buy those?
Absolutely. You can go to either our Facebook page or our Instagram page. Both of those are Lucha Krewe. And you just send us a DM, and we do have them. So I would say by the time this episode airs, we're probably going to have very few in stock. They're $10, and all the proceeds do go directly to charity. We're hoping to cut a check for somewhere between around $1,500. We hope for Puentes.
Okay, that's awesome. So I guess usually we'll kind of intro the two, the guests. So what are y'all's lucha names? That just like the wrestling world. When you join the Lucha Krewe, you almost lose your birth name, shall we say, and take on a new persona. What's y'all's personas, and how'd y'all choose those?
Well, I am Serpiente de Plata. It's a silver snake, so I usually have scale or snake scale themed masks and tights. So that's pretty much how I got mine. So
okay,
my outfit chose my name. So.
Okay.
I have a couple different ones because I kind of have a different persona, whether it's a day parade, a night parade, and a family-friendly parade, basically.
Okay.
So, we have a couple different outfits. This particular mask, one that I designed myself, is for Rey del Vuelo, the King of Flight. And that's, these kind of wings, the crown. It came about, it was actually a nice story. Lucha Krewe started as a sub-crew of the Crew of Ferret.
Right.
And the only other sub-crew of the Crew of Ferret was actually Dancing Man 504.
Okay. Yeah.
And his signature move, he would jump real high.
Right.
And one time I had a jump off with him where we both were just jumping as high as we possibly could. And he looked at me and he was like, "Hey, man, you're the king." And I was like, "All right, I like that." So so I turned that into a whole persona. And so, I'll have like wings tattooed on my back and, kind of wings coming off my wrists and that sort of thing. So that's where this particular persona came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're ramping right up to Mardi Gras here. You know all of what you're going with this year, what parade you're in this year?
Yeah, we do. Before Mardi Gras, and it'll be after this episode airs, but we do actually, we were invited to participate in the Sugar Bowl New Year's Eve parade.
Okay.
So that's going to be televised, which should be a lot of fun. So that's kind of like what we're kicking off the season with. But our big parades, we've got the Crew of Ferret, obviously. We'll be with them forever. The Crew of Druids on the Wednesday night parade.
Okay.
And then this year is our big debut in the Crew of Iris on Saturday morning. One of the biggest parades in all of Mardi Gras. We love them, and we were very excited to be invited by them to participate. And then we always do kind of our victory lap is the Crew of Dead Beans on Lundi Gras. So that's sort of a little bit like a second line, a little bit like a parade. It goes from Bayou St. John into the Treme where it meets up with the Red Beans crew.
Yeah.
Right.
We all lead that parade typically, don't you?
Yeah, it's always flexible. I would say whether or not we lead depends on the chaos of that day. So sometimes they prefer us out front. Sometimes they've already had a big mass of people that have already walked. So we kind of go where we fit in. But yeah, it's a really fun time for a really good organization.
Yeah. Well, stay pretty active though. I mean, we saw you in the Christmas parade. I didn't make the Halloween, but did y'all do that one as well?
Yes, we've been doing that every year for
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years, yeah. So it's always one of our favorite parades because it's a night parade and it's Halloween in New Orleans, so it's always fun.
Yeah.
It's like every crew kind of does that one now. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like it's
Become a-
pretty massive.
dance squads or whatever you want to call them, heavy parades.
Yeah, and Kern Studios, who operates the Crew of Boo, they're very good to the dance crews. They have in the spring every year they do a halfway to Boo dance off, where they feature all the dance crews in the city, and so that parade itself has become like a really big attraction for the dance crews themselves. So that is kind of like a nice relationship that both of those parties have created together.
Okay. Let's see. You'd mentioned how the calendar goes towards community service, but I know y'all are doing a ton of community service that, it feels like every other weekend you see, pictures from the Lucha Crew, whether y'all are at a festival, dancing. I know y'all danced at the Spanish Heritage Festival out in Kenner this year.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I may have forgotten about that. We participated in the blood drive that it's the Sassy Racks and the Elvi put on at Tips. So we have been participating in that every year.
Toy drive with the Bajorettes we just completed. They did a really nice toy drive in Mid-City.
Food pantry competition.
Yeah,
too.
we did the Gemettes held a food pantry, like kind of a food drive that we participated in and actually won. We're very proud about that too.
Nice.
So we keep very, very active. Anytime anybody pitches us an event, we take a look at the group that we're working with, the charity that is for, and we just make sure that we've got room on our calendar. But otherwise, we're happy to go.
Yeah. Let's see. Not to bring up, I guess, sad stories, but I know, was it just before last Mardi Gras, or maybe just after the Mardi Gras prior, that y'all had a hardship happen where someone stole y'all's trailer?
It wasn't our trailer. It was
Or
all of our sound equipment.
all the sound equipment that
Yeah.
was usually on the trailer.
and our generators.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, I could talk about that, and then Serpieta de Plata here can talk about kind of the aftermath of what we did. But yeah, it was a really heartbreaking moment for us, and we had been storing our equipment in New Orleans, and we don't know how it happened. It was literally our last practice before the Crew of Ferret. We had everything. We did a whole dry run, whole dress rehearsal, and we put everything, stored everything like we usually do. And we went to just kind of do inventory like we do before every parade, and we went back, and almost everything was gone.
Right.
And the president at the time, La Guacamaya, she had called me and was like, "Hey, you don't have all the stuff at your house, do you?" And I said, "No." And we realized right away, and obviously it became a safety issue. We were worried about who was there, who was watching, what had happened, and it was horrible. But at the same time, it really like restored and renewed our faith in this community, because for that particular Mardi Gras, we did have a brief GoFundMe that essentially funded all of our equipment. We worked with Century Sound, which is a local sound retailer, and they really provided us with a lot. And then one of our members, who's a proprietor at Zoni Mash, he loaned us a lot of their sound equipment, and so we were able to fully participate in that Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And then after that, we were able to kind of rebuild, and that's kind of where he comes in to kind of talk about the new trailer and the new sound system and everything.
Yeah, so last year our new trailer debuted and our new sound system. So we had been saving up money to redo the trailer, and of course the sound system caught us completely by surprise. We weren't really prepared for that, but the generosity of the city just is just overwhelming. Because we were able to, actually by talking to the Century Sound guys, he was able to get us more bang for our buck there. So we got a really good sound system, and we built our brand new trailer. Because we have so many talented people in our crew. We had a group that painted it. We had a group that built it. Then working with Century Sound helped us get everything set up just right. And then we have slowly started to make some additional upgrades. So
Okay.
every season we try to make some more. I think we upgraded the sound, and we are still talking about what other things we're going to try to do, but we only have 37 days before
Really?
so
Yeah.
we might just have to be good for this year.
Yeah, but I mean, and I mean, not to sell it short, but it was a flatbed. That was all we had, and they really built the entire thing ground up, and it was incredible. And it looks tremendous.
Yeah.
We'll share some pictures with you guys, and you've seen it in like the last parades and everything. It looks great.
I couldn't believe how quickly the community came together to fix that problem, because like I have a ton of sound gear, and as soon as he had shared your link that with that happening, and I called him, I was like, man, tell them they can use mine. I think he had already secured something, and it was a matter of like hours. I was like, well, that's good.
Yeah, we had so many crews reached out immediately that were like, hey, you can borrow ours. And for maybe like a few hours, it was this trying to figure out what parades each crew were in. Like, I mean, everybody really did reach out. The Gemettes had reached out. The 610 Stompers had reached out. All these crews, the Sassy, everybody kind of offered. And we were like, we would love to, but you guys have a parade the same day as us. Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so finally, when it was kind of Zoni Mash and Century Sound reached out together, and we're like, hey, we've got you covered. We don't need these for these particular parades. That got us covered through that Mardi Gras, and it was a real phoenix, rising from the ashes moment.
Yeah.
It was a real triumph.
Yeah, when I first read it, I was heartbroken. I was like, "This mean we're not going to get to see the Lucha Krewe in parades?" And then literally, like you were saying, like hours later, y'all were like, "Problem resolved.
Yep.
We're going to be marching. We're going."
Yeah. Yeah, anything for Mardi Gras. I think that was a big part of it too. But also because we really have. This is at that point that was maybe our 8th or 9th year, but we've been around for a while, and people really do love to see us. They love seeing like kind of the smiles we put on kids' faces, and adults love us too. So it was really we received a lot of messages that really made us feel like, oh, we've made an impact in this community. Which is
Absolutely. Great. There's. Kirk and I have said it a few times. There's certain crews that when we hear, their music or, we see their banner coming, what have you, we could be in the way back of the crowd,
Slide
and
on.
we'll elbow our way in because it's our favorites. And
Sure.
y'all are definitely one of those groups. You know,
Yeah,
I
we
mean, to
appreciate
where
Yeah, thanks.
we'll see the folks carrying the ring, in
Yeah.
the lead. It's like, and he'll yell out, "Hey, Lucha Krewe's here!"
Yep.
We go to everything. So typically, beginning of the parade, we're both the balloon collectors, so we want to grab the balloons, but eventually we'll kind of slide back a little bit. But
Sure.
oh, look who's coming! Yeah, there's probably I don't know a dozen or so that every time like, come on, Yeah, he's good for getting through a crowd.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pardon me.
I believe it.
So, what drove both of y'all to choose Lucha Krewe? I mean, there's, I'll be perfectly honest. There are, 100 groups. There's a whole book
Sure.
dedicated to the dance teams
Yeah.
out there. Was there something that really drove y'all to Lucha Krewe? I mean,
Well, I was friends with many of the original founders. And
okay,
I was a pile driver. That's the people who work our security for us.
right.
For a couple of parades, but I just traveled so much. I was like, I'm never going to have time to really participate fully until relatively recently. So I've only been with the crew since I guess I joined during the pandemic,
Okay.
and so I actually fully joined the crew, and so I already had a ton of friends. Most of the people I hang out with are in the crew. So
Yeah.
So it was an easy fit for me.
Right.
And it was something I'd always wanted to join, and I kind of regret that I didn't get in early with that first year. So
Yeah.
I go way back. I'm not an original founder, but the only parade that I've ever missed was the first parade that they ever did in 2014, the Krewe. I happened to be watching that parade, and I saw them go by, and I said, "That is the most up my alley thing that could possibly exist."
Yeah.
I've forever been a professional wrestling and lucha libre fan.
Okay.
My whole life, and I've also studied music kind of my whole life. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, I have to be a part of that. And it was interesting. So at the time, as I mentioned, it was a sub crew of the Krewe, and all you had to do to join was to pay dues to the Krewe and then just show up. And I didn't realize that all of the founders and the original members, they all knew each other. They were all friends. They were all in the anthropology department locally. And so I just showed up one day at practice. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm here. I joined." And they were like, "Who are you?" And little by little, I remember showing up one day in kind of a full gear, and they were like, "Oh, this guy's serious." Yeah.
Keep it on coming.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then, little by little, I was like, I know we've got this choreography. I think I could help with that. And now here I am, literally 10 years later, still doing it. So, I've loved so many other crews in the city, but I don't know that I could do another one as much as I feel about this crew.
Yeah.
What's your membership now?
we're
Seemed like you had a good group out for
we're
Christmas.
close to
Yeah.
60 now, right?
Pushing 60, yeah. When we started, it was like 12, and
it
then
was
little by
always
little,
so
we
great, yeah.
we now have a cap because we're like, we really can't take more than what we've got. So.
Yeah. Well, there's only so many wrestlers that can fit in one ring. I mean,
The Royal Rumble.
yeah, we've seen a Royal Rumble when
But
you got
that's
20
only 30
participants in.
That's only 30. Yeah, it's
yeah,
true.
right.
What is y'all's? Do y'all have an audition sort of thing now? Like, how does one become a lucha? I mean, besides
Has it upgraded from just paying to
Well, I mean, you do have to pay dues. You have to reach out to us, and what we typically do is whenever someone reaches out, if they say, "Hey, I'm interested in joining," how do I do that? We tell them, "Hey, come to practice, check us out. We have like a social half hour or so every whenever we do our practices. We do a social half hour so everybody can kind of meet and greet, and everybody can have time to arrive. Then we'll make our announcements, and then we'll spend about a half hour or so doing the dance, doing whatever dance or dances we're doing that night, and then we'll kind of re-socialize for a little bit after that, just so we can get to know each other. That's part of the reason why we kind of want to keep it at a 60 member cap, just so we can still have that kind of meaningful interaction with the members of the crew.
Yeah, ours it's less of a tryout and audition, is more of like a vibe check basically. So I mean, it sounds silly, but like I can teach anybody to dance and to do our moves. And I mean that. I mean that. We've had some real bad members. And when I write the stuff, I am writing our dances with the worst dancer possible in mind. And I'm like, okay, lowest common denominator. I will not name Super Guyena as our worst dancer, but like I have to think about it. I'm like, okay, could he do this? And then so we proceed from there. So I can always teach somebody to do our moves. It's more of a matter of like, are you going to jive with us? Like, do you support what we do? Do you support kind of like the Latino representation that we're trying to bring to the community? Do you like this style of music? Are you fun? Are you fun to drink with? Are you fun to hang out with? So if we like you as a person, you're in.
Yeah.
So that's basically our tryout. It's less physical. It's more of an emotional connection.
We're not a real lockstep sort of crew either. I mean, I'm not to say all.
How dare you?
I mean, there's some that
The
are
table,
very,
yeah.
there's some that are very meticulous and robotic. You guys seem more loose.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna.
You're all together, but you know,
Yeah.
it's more loose. You know.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna accuse us of being great technical dancers. But you can tell we're having a good time out there.
I'm just gonna take my mic off, walk out. No, I agree. I definitally agree.
That's the best possible.
Yeah, that has always been intentional. Although I will say we did finish in second place in the recent dance off in the city because we're trying to advance a little bit more. But no, it is again, those dances are designed to be a little bit looser. And one thing that our crew does more than any other crew, we interact with the crowd. And our dances are designed to actually interact with the crowd. We try to impress with a couple, bigger movements and to look like it's coordinated. But at the same time, we allow a lot of flexibility for each dancer so they can have that connection with the people on the sidelines. And so like a lot of crews, like you'll have members who will post online. They're like, yeah, I'm going to be parade or sidewalk side, row 6, whatever, because that's where they have to stay the whole parade. Our people move around. Yeah. We give them flexibility. Like, hey, this is a freestyle part. You're going to do wrestling moves here. We like really train them to do that kind of stuff. And it allows for a cohesive dance unit that's also still unlike kind of anything you ever really see.
Oh, finish each one of y'all bust out into a pose.
Yep.
Everyone's different.
A lot of flexing.
Yeah, I guess that's why I don't wear shirts. They just tear. Too much flexing.
It's true. It's true.
Do either of y'all have, I guess, goals or aspirations for the crew that, like, ultimate, it would be the coolest thing in the world if we could see Lucha do blank, whether it be a certain parade or, maybe a certain feat, shall we say,
Sure.
Well, I mean, we're always looking to try to get into some more parades, but we're just doing more or less little bits at a time because like this year we've just been really overwhelmed with a lot of the events because we're a full year-round crew, so
right.
we have to space it out, so yeah, that's I guess
sure with the 60 people it
yeah
helps with the rotating,
because
spreading it a little bit.
I think last year we had 40 people in one of the parades, and that's the most we've ever had in a single parade. But we usually have 20 to 30, and we have some events that we do that as few as 6 or 10 show up. So, but we're flexible. We don't have a ton of rules. So,
My goals, I would say, I would at some point in my career like to win the Halfway to Boo dance-off. I think that'll be a good moment for us. The other thing is actually it's not local, but I've seen a lot of these crews. The Amelia Earharts went to London. We saw the Crescent City Fae are doing London next year, I believe.
So the Disco Amigos did it.
Amigos
Disco
left,
Amigos,
I think this morning.
Yeah, so I would say long-term pipe dream type goal is maybe we do something like Mexico or Puerto Rico and actually take this international like we were always kind of intended to be.
Yeah.
And I shudder to think about traveling with some of these idiots, but I think it would be really cool to bring kind of New Orleans culture to some of the cultures that we honor when we do our thing.
Yeah. Have y'all had any, I guess, professional wrestlers who have acknowledged the crew or like reached out to y'all and said, "Hey, I see what y'all doing. That's awesome that y'all are keeping lucha alive." To where, instead of it being just a select thing, to where the only lucha that people know is Nacho Libre. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure. We have it a couple. So most recently, we did a film event at the Broad Theater. There was a biopic about Cassandro, who is a famous Mexican wrestler. And so, we worked with the Broad Theater to actually hold an event there to get a screening of the movie. And we took some pictures afterwards before we went in costume and that kind of thing. And Cassandro kind of sent us a message, put us on his Instagram. So that was a really cool moment. And then locally, we've had some of the groups, some of the wrestlers for like Wildcat Wrestling. They've kind of either tagged us and stuff or reposted some of our stuff and that sort of thing. They're not strictly Lucha Libre, but just having some professional wrestlers kind of know who we are is a lot of fun. Over the years we've had some drifting out, but that is something that we'd like to explore more too.
all right.
Yeah.
So, where can people follow the crew?
Sure. We've got so our Instagram account is Lucha Krewe, just straight up like that. Facebook.com/Lucha Krewe is that. And then actually we debuted this year. We've got our amazing secretary who put together LuchaKrewe.com. So LuchaKrewe.com has the most updated pictures from all of our recent parades. Some videos I think have made their way on there. It has our complete calendar and our schedule, so you can literally go, as soon as you go to the homepage of LuchaKrewe.com, it says, this is where you can find us next.
Awesome.
So we've got coming up, we've got the Sugar Bowl Parade. We're going to do the countdown to Carnival over at Zony Mash.
Okay.
That's kind of their countdown to, they have the King Cake Hub.
Right, yeah.
So we do an event, actually it starts at 9 o'clock, goes till midnight. We could cut the first slice of king cake. We're going to perform there. We've got an event at the Sazerac House on the 6th for the kickoff of Carnival. And then after that, we really kind of like, hey, let's take it easy on events so we can focus on parades.
Right.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate y'all coming out and joining us and catching us up on where Lucha Krewe's at these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're
thanks
happy
for
to come
having us.
by. This is great. We brought you that calendar. That's
Yeah,
for you
yeah.
guys. Also brought you a little something too
Yeah,
for
also,
you guys.
Well, before we do close out, when y'all walked in, y'all gave us some special gifts that I wanted to take a second and open up
Absolutely.
here.
Feliz Navidad.
I didn't want to tear the sticker.
There may or may not be more in there, but yeah. We'll see.
Ooh. Some lucha koozies.
Yeah, we got some koozies for y'all.
Goes to work.
Yeah. And
Got some nice magnets
yeah,
too in there. Nice.
lucha magnet.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and some stickers in there too.
Nice.
Yeah. So a bunch of our gear. Yeah,
Yeah.
sticking some pins in there.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Awesome.
yeah, thank y'all so much.
Absolutely. No, we really appreciate what you guys do. I mean, you mentioned that book that features all the dance crews. The fact that you guys interview all these people, put it online, post our pictures to your Facebook page, like we really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way we see it is by spreading the story of all the different crews, it only makes Mardi Gras that much better. You know,
Absolutely.
that, for us, selfishly, that, as we interview the different crews, we're making friends, to where, for us, it makes it more exciting to where when you're out on the parade route and you see, Lucha Crew coming by, we're looking for y'all, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we're cheering y'all on, as y'all are passing us.
You're still going to be that kind of that same spot, like right sort of before Lee Circle, or you're going to move around?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
It just kind of
it's
depends on when the next parade ends and where that
Sure.
is.
yeah,
They go like what, 45.
50, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Made 54 last year, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all dependent on where the parade trackers take us.
Sure.
So,
That's awesome.
I've been kidnapped by them.
yeah.
I've been in the car. Like, wait a minute, there's parade over.
So, thank you again so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing y'all on the route. And signing out, we will see you on the route. Thanks again for tuning in. Be sure to check out tonight's guests online. You can check them out at links all listed over here. Also, if you like us, you can support us. You go to our website, you can purchase our shirts and
These
couple
beautiful
other-
things.
couple other goodies that we have out there. And be sure to follow us online as well. The links are all over here. And while you're at it, be sure to click that subscribe button down there and the little bell to stay in touch on when we put out new content. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the route.